Welcome to Whistle Talk, your premier destination for an in-depth football discussions and exclusive interviews. Today we have the distinct pleasure of welcoming Coach Andrew Erby of Steelton-Highspire High School. As the architect behind back-to-back Pennsylvania Group 1A championships, Coach Erby's leadership has not only shaped winning teams, but has also inspired communities. Join us as we dive into Coach Erby's journey, exploring the pivotal role of diversity in coaching and officiating and how he navigates and overcomes adversity both on and off the field. That's coming up next on Whistle Talk.
Are you a football fan? Have you ever found yourself wondering what in the world was that ref thinking? Well, Mike D, the referee, is here to help. Join me on Whistle Talk as I talk to professionals on the field and in the booth to help you understand what is going on inside the mind of a football official.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the next episode of Whistle Talk. Today I got the privilege of having Coach AndrewErby with us today from Steelton-High High School. Let me make sure I get that right. Just outside of the Harrisburg area in Pennsylvania. Coach, thank you for joining us today, taking time out of your busy schedule. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity.
No, absolutely. So, Coach, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your coaching experience. I know you've had quite a bit of success the last couple of years. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Well, obviously, I'm head football coach and athletic director at Steelton-Highspire High School in Pennsylvania. We're a small Class 1A school, but what's unique about us is this will be our 129th year of football. So we have a lot of rich tradition, and we've really been known for playing schools that are bigger sizes in Pennsylvania, since in our areas there's not a lot of small schools. A lot of rich football tradition and a lot of great football talent. That's just a little small piece about our program.
Now, you've had the pleasure the last couple of years of you've had twin sons go through your program. How was that?
Oh, that's awesome. My son's fortunate to coach those guys the last 4 years. My son Alex Erby will be going on to the U.S. Navy Academy, and my Andrew Erby Jr. will be going to Ohio University to play offensive line. So we've been blessed. We had a great run, winning 3 out of 4 state championships. Lots of talents. We have only a roster of 35, and we have 13 seniors who'll be attending school from Division I to Division III. So we had a lot of success over the last 4 years with a lot of great talent.
That's fantastic. And now I didn't realize you're also the athletic director. So you're a man of many hats at the school. So you're a busy person, huh?
Absolutely. A lot of time, a lot of commitment. My passion, my love is serving and helping others.
Well, once again, thank you for joining us today. So let's kind of jump right into this. So reason I have Coach on today, he has had a very successful program, and again, what we're looking to do is try to build our relationship between officials and coaches throughout the country. So, Coach, give us a little bit of a perspective of the importance that you have with the community between officials and coaches.
I think it's important that the biggest point and stressing point for my program is an open line of communication and dialogue to build to work together. It needs to be a mutual relationship of positive and also learning and understanding. Like we always say, we're all humans, and just understand that. I think it's big to expose your program and your student athletes to officials and let officials tell their story and vice versa. Over the last couple years, we've been fortunate enough around this springtime with 707s. One of the things we like to do is bring in our local chapter to interact with our players, not only with some official points, but also with just telling their story and telling her a little bit about their experience in their life and some things that they want to, more of a personal experience about who they are as a person.
That's excellent. I really like that. That's actually something I may bring up to our chapters around here, and it's one of the things that I am actually looking to do with the goal of this podcast. So that's great stuff. So you guys, you introduce your players to the officials. How has that been going on the field and stuff like that? Now, do you see a difference with communication going on between your players and the officials, your assistant coaches and the officials, different things like that?
I think it's great because when guys, some of the guys played in our area, some of the guys played high school football, some of the guys have different career paths. Where we have a few guys that were state troopers, they're teachers, they're fathers. Just understanding who they are as a person and a little bit more about their background and how they got there. Just being able to relate to the official and have understanding, because a lot of times kids don't understand. Like they look at them as officials, but they don't really know their story and how they got there and basically their success story, and just relating with some of the adversity that they had to go to, and understanding of, let's have a mutual open dialogue that we are people. This is my story. And it also gives a chance for kids to give their perspective about what they feel about officials, and in an open dialogue where the communication is clean. It's not just happening on game day when emotions are high.
That's awesome, because as you and I were talking about pre-roll, I was a football coach for many years before I became an official. And that's one thing that I personally do grasp and understand of how hard you guys are working, how hard the kids are working. So I want to do the best that I can to coach them still at times. I'll tell them, hey, your hands are outside. We got to work the hands inside, different things like that. So building that relationship, and you doing that, building that relationship preseason, I think is really outstanding. I try to do that during the game. I'm an umpire. I'm in the middle of the field. I'm trying to build that relationship, especially when I get to the JV or a freshman level type of game. I'd rather keep the flag tucked away really deep and go into the huddle and say, hey, guys, got to keep the hands in, different things like that, talk to the coaches. But I love that you guys are doing that beforehand and allowing the kids then to have that conversation back and say, excuse me, hey, what brought you into officiating and different things like that. And we're always looking for officials to come out. So maybe the kids could hear this and say, hey, that's something that I might want to do. The percentage of the kids these days that are going NFL and different things like that is slim. So this is, as an official, it's an opportunity for me to stay involved in the game of football that I love. So, but I love that you guys are doing that. So mentorship, different things like that. How are you encouraging your younger players, your younger coaches? You are a younger coach yourself. So let's actually backtrack. Did you have a mentor yourself? Somebody that you kind of modeled after?
Yes, I use a lot of my high school coach, Rob Dibler, who passed. G.A. Mangus, who was my coach at Delaware Valley University. He went along the coach in South Carolina. So just being able to have an understanding of the games, in just that strong mentorship of your line of communication, how to build your culture, how to grow your program. And believe it or not, we kind of adversity of situations and games that may not go your way. It's a portion of adversity and how you handle it. So I think it's important that we understand that some situations in a game that may not go your way, or even if it's a call or even if it's a play call, but just in being able to have a plan on how to handle adversity is important for your program. And I'm gonna be very honest, how we handle calls and interactions in adversity of the game, typically our teams do. So just being able to model that, but also taking advice from other coaches on the way they communicate, how they handle it, because at the end of the day, nobody's really there to take away from kids. We all want to, do the right by kids. So just being able to handle that when adversity hits to make sure that our program's successful. But also mentors play a good role in that, being able to reach out to other coaches in the area and being able to communicate, just figure out how they handle situations, and how they deal with things.
Now, in our interactions beforehand with our emails, you had asked if we can discuss the diversity in officiating and the coaching world. How is that something that you promote as a coach and basically with the program and your community?
And that goes back to recently what we did. We did some things on Twitter Space, where we brought our officials in, to promote, some diverse officials and backgrounds. We also are able to bring into our Pennsylvania State coaching clinic, just different our minorities coaching group to expose and get out to our minority groups, to our goes down to our high school coach, to our youth programs, to our parents. but just giving exposure to make sure that we're, having a diverse group and giving opportunity, whether it be African Americans or women also too. We have a few women that are added to our chapter, and just bringing those into our school. And we just recently had our career day at school, and
Okay.
we were able to bring that into some urban schools so that they have an opportunity for officials to expose where they set up their table, they did their presentation, they promoted the benefits, great opportunity for former athletes to get into it, but also, women and minorities also were a big goal in just your urban school settings.
Oh, that's excellent. That's great stuff to promote that and to get that out there to everybody. And I 100% agree. It doesn't matter who you are. If you have the love for the sport and you're willing to learn and work for it, go for it. Like we need people. We need good people. And it doesn't matter male, female, Asian, black, white. I don't care personally. I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame that we're still dealing with it, and society itself, I hope was getting better, but we've had some bumps in the road, unfortunately, recently. But yeah, hopefully now, post COVID, we're starting to see a little bit of a rise in our numbers in officials, minority officials. We do have one female official so far in our chapter. And we're looking to continue and grow with that. And I just had the pleasure, one of my previous podcasts, of having Kat Conti on. Kat Conti was the first female official in the Big 12. So she was able to talk about her road and what she was going through to get to the level that she's at. So if you're out there and you're interested in officiating, come on out, please. And it don't matter who you are, come do it. You want to coach and you know it. We got a female coach in our area here in New Jersey. She's an assistant coach right now. So we're looking to continue to grow and continue this sport to grow. A little bit of a sidetrack. Do you guys have the girls flag football going on in Pennsylvania?
We don't currently at our school, but we're close to 100 schools that would like to participate in our PIAA. So we'll be moving in that direction, and I think that's huge. That's going to be huge for the success, and just being able to grow with flag football will help with women officials also. But I mean, we're moving in the direction of flag football. There are some schools that have it, but for it to be official PIAA sport, it needed to be 100 schools at least be willing to participate, and we're at that. So I would say in our next cycle or next year or so, definitely will be a girls flag football would definitely be a big sport moving forward, and a great opportunity for people to be a part of the game again.
Yeah, that's something that is definitely growing, and I'm not certain about this, but I think in the state of New Jersey, I think next year it is going to be state sanctioned by our governing body. So it is definitely growing, and like you said, it's a great opportunity for all different people to get involved in it. So I love seeing that. I've had an opportunity to officiate it a couple times, and I was kind of blown away. I'm not going to lie; it was high level. It was great football. So I was like, this is awesome. So let's keep rolling with that. So good stuff there, Coach. So you had brought it up before. Have you been involved in any type of controversial call or anything like that?
Absolutely. And I've been on both sides of it. So when it comes down to those calls, usually they're in the heat of the moment. So what I've learned to try to do my best to, and to be honest, we're all human. The best thing is try to have an open line of communication. A lot of times we see the call and we say this is that, or what our opinion is. But I just think being able to have an open line of communication and being able to let the official voice what they seen and vice versa voice what we seen. I think the biggest part of handling any dispute is the line of communication and how the line of communication is done. Because the communication, if it's done with respect, and with respect for the game and respect for the kids, I think you can move past it a little bit better. So I've learned that, have an open line of communication. A lot of times, there's a lot of times where, to be honest, where that open line of communication is coming, I feel like I felt like I've seen something then, now we have the luxury of having huddle sideline. We can't use it, but I think it's always the right thing. Hey, you were right. You missed that call. Being able to
Mm-hmm.
move past that, or vice versa. Official says, hey, I might have missed it on that. I didn't have the view on it. It was bad guy. We communicated. He didn't see it, but the communication is the biggest part of that. But also, not only communication is once the call is made, me as the head coach, making sure that our players understand that it's over and done with, but being able to move past it and not let our reactions and our emotions take the forefront. And I think that just starts with the coach and being able to understand it's a part of the game. No one's perfect. We don't make the perfect calls. You don't make the perfect plays, but communication is the key to getting past any adversity or any controversial call. Sometimes you're on the good end of it. Sometimes you're on the bad end of it, but it happens.
Yep. In Pennsylvania, are the officials, do they wear headsets?
Yes, they do wear headsets in the state playoff games. Sometimes they will in the regular season, but not every game. It's not mandatory.
Okay, yeah. So here in New Jersey, we have implemented the headsets, and we are wearing them pretty much all season long. Definitely in the playoffs, but all season long. And I know there's some old school officials that hate wearing it. It's not comfortable or whatever it may be. But what you're talking about, that line of communication, because you as a coach, if you see something that's on the far side of the field, we might not be able to get you an answer until 5, 6, maybe change of possession. But now with the headsets, we can communicate to the official that's standing right with you and say, hey, coach, this is what they saw. This is why they called it. So that line of communication, and it definitely is beneficial in that aspect. On top of it, it's beneficial for us as officials. I've got my back to the defensive backfield. I don't know what's always going on. Sometimes they'll be like, hey, Mike, just keep an eye out on this because they're seeing it from a different perspective in the back. So it is something that has definitely helped us with the communication aspect.
And I would like to add too, and a big part of that is when our officials come in our spring and in our summer, they're going over protocols and procedure of where their alignment is and where their assignment and where their eyes are. So, and I can tell you this, to be honest, I guarantee you a lot of head coaches or coaches really don't know where their eyes are at, what they're looking, whether two receiver side, backside. So just understanding on what they're looking at and understanding their view, and understanding the game, but also explaining that to the kids on where their eyes are and what they can see is really to your advantage. But having an understanding of a little bit of where the official, who's responsible for what the umpire is looking at. So I think that gives you a better perspective. The more you know about the game, the more you understand the rules. I think it gives you a better explanation on what to look for and why it would be possibly missed, or if you miss something and you're asking the line judge to look at something that's not even what he's looking at. So
Yeah, correct.
The better understanding of rules and procedures of what the responsibility of each official gives you a better understanding of who to talk to and where to communicate. So the more you know about the game, the better.
Yep. No, that's definitely a great fact there. And a prime example of that is sometimes the holding by the outside receiver.
Yes.
Sometimes you're seeing a hold by the outside receiver, but as a line judge at the line of scrimmage, our focus is more on the tackle and the slot receiver, where our deep official is going to be focusing on the widest receiver. So knowing our keys and our mechanics and different things like that, it does help us. Now, if we see it, even though it's in our peripheral vision or whatever it may be, if we're seeing it, we'll throw the flag on that. But we all do have different keys, just like an offensive line coach. They're focused on watching the offensive line and seeing what they're doing, as opposed to what the receivers may be doing or the steps the running backs are taking. We're kind of doing the same thing in our point of view and our point of attack type of scenarios. So now you've given some great examples. Heat of the moment, call doesn't go your way. You got a couple kids that are fired up. How are you handling that situation?
Well, how I'm handling that situation is what we implemented was a adversity plan. So our adversity plan is simply this, and it's in the 3 steps. And this can be applied to anything. So our mindset is we'll ask the kids where you're at. Your brain needs to be where your feet are at, which is on the next play. We need to move past it. We refocus them by Do your 111th. What's your responsibility? All right, we need to move past that because now we got to think about what our next job is. The last part of that is effort. You control effort. So it's a great example. So what we'll do is I have this band on. So we face a
Okay.
little adversity or call to move on a play. I'll just grab my wristband, and that's telling us we're like a rubber band. We'll bounce back and we need to move on to the next play. So we'll just go laser focus, grab our wristband. That's letting me know. That's letting our coaches know. We practice that. We prepare for that. Everything can't go your way, but it's a sign where we don't always have to call a timeout or bring 3 kids over. Say a kid gets a pass interference call, he's walking down, he starts to put his head bad body language. We just snap that wristband. We're bouncing back. We're with you. We're together. It's a part of the game, being able to move on so you don't always have to have a lot of verbiage. But I think it's important that you have a plan for when it occurs because it's going to happen.
Yes.
It'll be times where, and if it involves me, I'll have my assistant, hey, get me on next play, coach. Our roller band, we call it our roller band. Snap the roller band on to the next play. Because a lot of times, as coaches, sometimes we spend too much time, and we need to be able to move on to the next play. And again, our kids observe us, and they match our energy and our behavior. So being able to implement that roller band for adversity is huge. And one of the reasons was to anything that's controversial that we may feel like it may not go our way. And a lot of times, to be honest, the officials are usually good on their call, but the kid or the crowd may not feel that way. So that's just a nonverbal that we use for our program to be able to bounce back when we're facing adversity. But it's a quick, simple, and it's a very supportive when you got everybody on your team, your sideline. We're just looking down at our bands. We'll just tap our wrists if we don't have our bands on. If not, we're just bouncing back like a rubber band.
So that's awesome, and that sounds like something that you've modeled and put into place, not just in the season but out of the season. How many of your former players still are wearing those bands? Because that's a life lesson right there in itself.
Absolutely. We give on them. They say our band say for the room. Our motto is hashtag for the room, and that's what's best for the team, even when things get extremely hard, the way you're coached to do it. So
Yep.
there's a big coaching piece and a big mental piece that this may only last. That call may last for 15, 20 seconds, but I think the out of season preparation mentally and physically to prepare you for those moments are important. And to be honest, it's not just a kid thing. It's a coach thing across the board where I need
Absolutely.
to be able to do it. My assistants need to be able to do it. Our program across the board down to our athletic trainer have to understand how to react when we face adversity. But also too, me as the head coach, no one's bigger than the program. I may need assistant coach, rubber band. So I think it's important that we communicate together, but we're in this thing together, and it's not about me. It's not about the officials. It's not about a player. It's not about the fans. It's about doing what's best for the game.
That's fantastic stuff, Coach. I love that. I really, really, really do. And like I said, one of the greatest things that I love about football and why I've been involved in the game of football as a player, as a coach, and now as an official is because I really do feel that the life lessons that we're gaining from this sport carry over into all walks of life, to everything that we do. I mean, heck, that's something that I probably should wear the band myself just in my teaching day and just remind myself every once
Yeah,
in a while. There's a bigger reason I'm here.
absolutely.
So that's great stuff. So, Coach, with that, we're going to take a short pause, and when we come back, we're going to quiz Coach to see what kind of football refereeing knowledge he has. Maybe we can convert him to the stripes in the future. So we'll take a short pause, and when we come back, we'll start with our flag facts, our little quiz game for our coaches, and then we'll talk about a couple more things going on about officiating. So stick around. We'll be right back after this short pause.
If you're enjoying today's show and you want to show your appreciation to Mike D, you can buy him a beer by clicking on the link in the show notes or go to buymeacoffee.com/Mike D the referee. And as always, make sure to click follow and give 5 stars. Thanks for listening. Cheers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Coach Erby from High School, again, just outside of Harrisburg, PA. Coach, we have come to the point of the show where we have what I like to call our flag facts. It's our little quiz here to see, again, what our coaches know. So what I put together for you is a little slideshow here that's going to give you 3 different questions. And we'll talk about the different plays in particular. So, and you get to see now the verbiage that we officials like to use on and off the field. So, question number 1 is Team K's long field goal attempt from their 35-yard line lands at the R5 where it is accidentally touched by an R player and rolls out of bounds at R 2-yard line. So, Coach, as officials, we're not talking offense, defense. We're talking K versus R, kicking team versus receiving team, A and B. A is offense, B is defense. So, in this scenario, long field goal, doesn't cross the goal line, lands on the 5-yard line, and it's accidentally touched basically by a defensive player and goes out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Coach, what do you think you got on this one?
3rd and 2 at the 8-yard line.
All right. So I think we jumped ahead. What you're going to have, Coach, is 1st and 10. So the way that this goes is a field goal in high school is a punt. And the terminology we like to use is it is a punt that you can score. So if a punt goes into the end zone, you're getting the ball at the 20-yard line. But in this scenario, the punt didn't go through the end zone. It was touched by a receiving player and went out of bounds. So it's going to be ours ball, 1st and 10 from the 2-yard line.
I'm back on schedule.
No, that's all good. That's all good.
Yeah.
All right. So now question number 2. A, 4th and 10 from the B 38-yard line. A 23 takes a swing pass and is pushed out of bounds at the B 30-yard line. While already out of bounds, B 17 hits A 23 late. So what do you got on this one?
1st and 10 from the 15-yard line.
Okay, that is 100% correct. So it's 4th down from the 38-yard line. The receiver catches the ball, only caught 8 yards. So at that point, when they went out of bounds, the series is over. So the late hit now occurs. That is a post-play foul. So that's going to be tacked on. So the change of possession happened. That now is going to be a 15-yard penalty, and it is going to push them back. So B is going to get the ball, but they're going to be backed up 15-yard line because the play was already over. So a lot of people tend to think with that one, well, it's going to be tacked on 15-yard lines. If it was 3rd and 10, absolutely, it would still be A's ball in that scenario. But because they didn't gain the line to gain, it is now B's ball, and now the 15-yard penalty gets assessed to them there. All right, and our last one, and this one is a little bit of a 3-parter here. So A's got 3rd and 10 from the B16. A11's pass is incomplete, but there was defensive interference that occurred. First, at the 4-yard line. Second scenario is at the 1-yard line. Third scenario is the interference happened in the end zone. Coach, what do you got?
3rd and 2 from the 8-yard line.
Absolutely. Why do you got that? What do you think?
Well, because the pass interference of where it occurred at would take it down to would make it 3rd and 2 in the 8-yard line.
Correct. So we had from the 16-yard line, defensive pass interference is a 15-yard penalty regardless. It is not a spot foul. So even the fact that it happened in the end zone, okay, it doesn't matter that it happened in the end zone. So it is a 15-yard penalty, and in this scenario, the ball was at the 16-yard line. So we can't go 15 yards. We're going to go half the distance. And again, in the high school rules, it is not an automatic first down, which many coaches, many fans, this one we get yelled at a lot. It's first down. It's first down. This is the one. It is not first down because you got to get the yardage on this. So you will replay the down. So it'll be 3rd and 2 from the 8-yard line. All right, Coach. Not bad there. Not bad at all. What did you think about those? Do you see those scenarios pop up in your games, things like that?
We definitely see those. We definitely see a lot of those different scenarios. And to be honest, like I usually have a guy upstairs and a guy downstairs that really are communicating a lot of that stuff, looking at the yardage. I actually have previously two guys were officials on my staff because it's good to have those guys and have understanding of the rules interpretations, because a lot of times you really don't know everything. But the biggest thing is being able to get that communication in, because while they're understanding where the ball is going to be at and have a good understanding of it, you're looking at your next play call and how to defend it. So a lot of it is, again, it all goes back to communication, where you're gonna have an opportunity being able to be efficient and move. We're an up tempo team, so if we're getting a call, we're getting a marker in, we want to be able to get the play in when that ball's rolled in. We want to be able to take the time to take advantage of it, especially on offense. If it happened to be on the defense and it's in our advantage, when they're trying to figure it out, looking for numbers to communicate, we're communicating with our guys in the box and our guy from the sideline and be able to get our next play. And we're trying to catch them in a bit of a roller coaster where they're not handling adversity a little bit, where it may be something where they need to discuss and trying to figure out, and we're attacking it. We typically will go after kid who's maybe had a pass interference, couple calls towards them, especially the kid that jumps off sides. So the worst thing you can do for a coach is a kid that jumps off side and he crosses it and 10 people are yelling and screaming at him. That's usually the kid we want to go after, because in our eyes, you're taken away by negative reinforcement to your teammate. You're lowering their self-esteem, and we're gonna attempt to go after that kid if we can. So there's advantages and there's disadvantages, but how you treat your teammates when they make a mistake can also can be someone else's advantage on what your team culture is when adversity hits.
Oh, that's a great point. I never thought of it that way, but absolutely, you definitely do see that. And again, on the field with the players, I definitely hear some of them get on their kids. A lot of times you are hearing, hey, let it go, it happened, move on from it. But sometimes the kids are annoyed at themselves. There's an assistant coach yelling at the sideline, or heck, in my case right now, I'm still coaching my son in youth football. It's dad on the sideline yelling at them. So no, that's an interesting fact there. And I like the fact that you have former officials on your staff too. That definitely helps out with that. But I think in all three of those scenarios, going back to what we were previously discussing, the communication aspect is definitely going to be key in that, and letting the coach know, hey, this is the scenario, this is what the outcome is going to be. What do you want to do? So, Coach, with that, talk about any observations that you've seen of positive changes in officiating over the last couple of years.
I would say the technology part of it, a lot more. There's a lot more where you can get online. Like, we're kind of having a dialogue here. We have our interpretations where there's some video interaction that we can go back and review and go over some rules. Increased training in out of season conference, where now officials are training in the spring in Pennsylvania. They're out at 7-on-7, 11-on-11s camps. So I think that the growth and improvement of time that's being committed by officials has definitely been growing, because they have been having more off-season involvement and been a part of a lot of interactions, we call them in Pennsylvania, on learning and growing. And just finding out a little bit of, I've had a lot of new officials that have come observe how we handle our up tempo. That's been a new thing, with just spotting the ball, what we teach our kids. Obviously, it's great to hear, on our end, like, we know we want to get to the ball, so it's just reiterating with some younger guys, like, we want to get the ball to the umpire line. Judges has his hand raised, but we want to get that ball to the middle umpire. It's not a sign of disrespect, but I had new guys saying he didn't give me the ball. Like, no, we're giving the ball as a part of the tempo and where we want to get our kids the ball to. So just interacting and learning, but the training has been a lot more intense for officials because they're needed. So you need to make up that time where you just can't go in a game where you're getting it in the spring. Then you're getting to your midget, junior high, junior varsity games, and some guys college level.
Now, how about any rules changes? Anything that you've seen in the past couple of years that either you like or that you're not a big fan of?
I really like the quarterback being able to throw the ball away. Getting out. Some people don't like it, but I like it. But I think a lot of people don't know the rule. You hear intentional grounding every time the ball goes out there. That's been the new thing. But I thought that somewhat protected quarterbacks on both sides. And we're talking about a safe game, but it gets kids used to it. And I happen to have, at least for my son, our quarterback, it's getting him ready for next level football because he understands it's something that you're able to do. But it's also at the next level, it's a smart play, but it's also a part of your evaluation when you're getting recruited. Can you make the smart decision? Or are you going to throw it? Are you going to take the big hit? So there's when you're on the other side of it and you need to play, probably not the best thing. But when you're for your quarterback, keeping you safe and keeping your guy, especially at a small school where you don't have a lot of depth at that position, I think is better for safety and longevity. So I thought that was a rule that benefited on our side that I liked.
Personally, I think that rule was way, way overdue. I never understood why why it wasn't like that. We're trying to promote safety for the student athletes, and yet we're allowing quarterbacks to just get clobbered, even though they're outside of the box. And I agree 100% with that one. Anything that you think should be brought into the high school level that hasn't been? I know now we've got a little bit of a controversial going on in the NFL, a controversial call with the hip drop, different things like that. Is there anything like that you would like to see maybe modified or just look back into, or a point of emphasis?
Um, I would say at the high school level, no, because a lot of with the teaching of fundamentals and tackling, you have a lot. There's different layers and there's different tiers of ability, hand and eye coordination. So it will be rough to implement a rule like that with a kid that doesn't have experience because a lot of times the kid's growing, he's learning, he may not have an experience. So it's just like pros are pros, but to try to teach a high school kid different landmarks and different approaches can be tough because again, there's certain people that are invested that live the game, but there's also kids who are just doing it for fun and just learning. It's just about the experience. So there's different levels of talent and different levels of ability. So I just try to do the best to teach a lot of our kids to the best of our ability, but understand they're not pros. And I always say high school kids are walk-ons. They don't get paid for it. They're just doing it to learn and grow. So their purpose may be much bigger than being a paid athlete. It may just be about the
Mm-hmm.
experience and being a part of the team and the life lessons that we talked about. So to be honest, I think the game is moving and adapting. And that's one thing I do like about football, that it's able to recognize some strengths and some weaknesses and attempt to put everybody in a safe position where they're learning. But there's a reasoning behind everything.
Good stuff. So now, Coach, transitioning a little bit back now to a spotlight on you here. You've got a couple state championships under your belt now, huh?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on that. Tell the listeners a little bit about that.
It's been a great ride the last 4 years. The first one was in 2020. We run during COVID. So I mean, people always say what separates them all. Being able to win a state championship during COVID with thermometers and masks, and there was a point where we weren't going to be able to play, and it's just being the temperature checks every single day with gloves and spraying down. That was real life adversity for families and young men, and I think it's important to go back and reflect. That always reminds me, like we were at a point where you just seen kids across the country who didn't have an opportunity to play. But I think it was
Yep.
a blessing for us to be able to go through it and find a way that year. And that year just made it, but nobody cared about a call or a play. It was just pure love of the opportunity. So I think that reset us as a whole to, you know what, maybe everything is not perfect, but at least we have the opportunity.
You get to enjoy
So
the
I would
moment.
say the last 4 years we won 3 out of 4 state championships. We were 49-4. We have 13 kids going to college, and what better way as a high school coach to end it, win the state championship with your two sons, walking off the field. It just was a great memory, great moment, something I'll never forget, and it was very very special, and it's one of those things where you dream about, and it doesn't always happen. But for us to go 3 out of 4 and to win our first one together and win our last one together was just truly a blessing, and just a great opportunity for our town and our community to embrace. It just was a long time coming, and I've been coaching those guys since they were 5 years old. So it was a great experience. Learned a lot, grew a lot. But at the end of the day, that'd be my greatest moment as a father and as a coach, to be able to walk off the field as champions with your two sons.
I love how you preface that as a father first, and then as the coach, because that is a memory that you and your kids are going to share for the rest of your lives that nobody can ever take away from you guys. That's fantastic stuff right there. Now, you're from the area, correct?
Yes, I graduated from I'm a graduated from Steelton-Highspire. Went on to play at Delaware Valley University. I played with some New Jersey guys too. So we had a good program there. We were actually there when they had a losing program, but by the time we walked out of there, Delaware Valley University is Division III program in the tri-state area. Winning program, we get a lot of Jersey recruits down in that area, but really good Division III football, always ranked in the top 25. But really,
Yep.
previously, before me getting there, had like 40 years of losing seasons. So now they're like 6 straight MAC championships. Real life adversity. Obviously, I came from a program in Steelton-Highspire where the expectations to win a state championship. Went to a program that was struggling, led by G.A. Mangus. He was able to turn the program around. Finished my senior year at 12-1. We actually lost to Rowan University. So anybody doesn't know about Rowan University back in the day, they were the portal before the portal. So they actually had some NFL prospects on that team that I played against in 2005. So, but a great experience. Great opportunity. Finished All-American at Delaware Valley University. And I always tell kids from Division I to Division III, but ultimately comes down to maybe an inch or size here, but the experience and what you learn from collegiate athletes. If you're putting on a college uniform, you're blessed and take advantage of the opportunity, because maybe a little inches, maybe a size, maybe a film didn't get to this person, maybe the difference. The one thing I learned about Delaware Valley University, it's committed people who want to win. A lot of great former players. One of my linebacker coaches is head coach at JMU. Other defensive coordinator is head coach at Cookstown. Kicker teammate is head coach at IMG, Billy Miller. So
Okay.
the relationships and the growth that you grow. Duke Greco just got the head coaching job at Westchester University. So the resources and the coaches the men that came out of that program are long time, great relationships. Especially helps with recruiting when you can call a teammate and a friend that you've done something special with. And your word is golden because they respect you as you are on and off the field as a player and a coach and a mentor. It's very important when it comes to relationships.
That's fantastic stuff, Coach. Um, so with that, going to kind of wrap up, Coach. Is there anything else that you would like to add? I know you mentioned about the All-Star game and different things. Anything else you'd like to add before we go?
Yeah, so our initiative for our Pennsylvania State Football Coaching Association is to promote officials, promote members to join. So that's one our initiative for Pennsylvania, to make sure that we're growing the game. And again, there's so many perks of being a coach, being official. So our big promotion piece is join. We need good people. We need people to tell their story. We need our minorities, our women, to step up to the plate. And again, there's so many great opportunities to be a part of the game. So we're just promoting that. We're pushing that. We'll have some Twitter space. It would be a good idea to have you on the speak on our Twitter space, because it doesn't matter, because we're talking about this initiative is nationwide. We need officials. We need good people, and I think you said it the best. We need good people. So it's not about and that really drives home to me, because when it's all said and done, it's about good people helping other people, good people teaching other people. So that's important, and we'll get the word out there. And we have our Big 33 game coming up May 26th, Pennsylvania versus Maryland. Top players in the country. There's been a member of the Pennsylvania Big 33 playing every Super Bowl. So
Oh, wow.
we're on a big streak here, 66, 67 years straight for Super Bowls consecutive. So the last couple years we've been successful with Pennsylvania by, having a member of the Big 33 playing the Super Bowl, so they call it the high school Super Bowl. So we're looking forward
Oh,
to
that's
that
good
game
stuff.
coming up shortly.
Where would people be able to find information about the initiative that Pennsylvania has going on right now about possibly becoming an official? Is there a specific site or
Yes,
anything like that?
I'll actually retweet it from my Twitter. It's at AndrewErby, AndrEW, capital ERBY, and I'll be retweeting that. And also on the Pennsylvania State Football Coaches Association's Twitter at PFCA, Pennsylvania State Football Coaches Association. We'll retweet that. We'll get that word out there for people to follow up and be a part of it. And anybody in Pennsylvania, just contact your local chapter if you're interested in officiating. And we look forward to hearing from people and growing it. And it's a big part of the game, and we need good people.
And you'll be able to, for the listeners out there, you'll be able to find those Twitter handles. I'll have them on the show notes, so we'll push them out there for everybody. So if you didn't get a chance, if you're driving right now, you get a chance to write down those Twitter handles. They will be right in the show notes, so you can just click on them, and the links will be there for everybody. Coach, once again, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. It was a pleasure talking to you and meeting with you, and I wish you nothing but success. And by all means, if you would like me to come on and talk, I've got no problems returning the favor and again promoting the sport of football.
Thank you very much for having me. We'll be
Absolutely.
in touch.
Coach, take care. Have a great morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Whistle Talk, where we unravel the fascinating world of football officiating. If you enjoyed today's discussion and want to stay in the loop with the latest insights, be sure to subscribe to Whistle Talk on your favorite podcast platform. Stay connected with us by following Whistle Talk on social media, where we share behind-the-scenes glimpses, updates, and engage with our incredible community of officiating enthusiasts. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Just search for the words Whistle Talk. Your support means the world to the show, and we'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future episodes. Drop us a line through our website or message me on social media. I'm always eager to connect with the fellow fans and continue the conversation. Until next time, keep blowing the whistle on the untold stories and nuances of football officiating. Thanks for being part of the Whistle Talk family. This is Mike D., the referee, saying so long for now.